The first thing I learned about the Varexan Empire was that they did not waste resources. Not ships, not soldiers, and certainly not prisoners. When my reconnaissance vessel drifted too close to their disputed border, I expected a warning shot, maybe a forced retreat. Instead, I was surrounded by 3 obsidian cruisers shaped like curved blades. They didn't fire. They simply locked onto my engines and pulled me in like a fish on a line. I was human, and in that sector of space, that made me a curiosity. They disarmed me, scanned me, and placed me in a crystalline holding chamber aboard their capital world, Varexa Prime, a planet of jagged silver towers rising from violet seas. The sky shimmered with 2 moons, and the air hummed faintly, as if the entire world breathed through hidden machinery. My cell wasn't cruel. It was efficient. Transparent walls. Adaptive gravity. A nutrient dispenser that offered me paste calibrated to human biology. They were studying me. On the 3rd day, the guards arrived, not to interrogate me, but to escort me. 2 Varexan soldiers flanked me. They were taller than any human, their skin a pale opalescent tone that reflected light like pearl. Their eyes glowed faint gold, and each wore armor etched with flowing geometric patterns. They moved with predatory grace. We traveled upward through the tower city in a silent lift until the doors opened to a vast throne chamber. The floor was a single sheet of dark crystal. Pillars curved like fangs toward a vaulted ceiling. At the far end, seated upon a living throne that pulsed with faint bioluminescence, was the most commanding presence I had ever seen. Queen Lyris Falthera. Her posture was effortless authority. Silver-white hair flowed down her shoulders, braided with metallic threads. Her eyes burned like twin stars, measuring, intelligent, dangerous. I was brought to my knees, but I refused to bow my head. "I am Commander Elias Rowan of Earth's Outer Fleet," I said steadily. A faint ripple of murmurs passed through the court. The Queen leaned forward slightly. "You are bold for a captive." "I prefer the term, detained explorer." For a moment, I thought I saw the ghost of a smile. "You crossed into Varexan territory," she said. "By law, your vessel is forfeit. As are you." "And what happens to me?" I asked. Her gaze sharpened. "That depends." The air shifted. The court quieted further. I sensed something larger at play than simple border enforcement. "My daughter," the Queen continued, "Princess Kalara, was widowed 6 cycles ago. Her consort died in battle defending our outer colonies." There was a subtle change in her tone. Not weakness, but something buried deep beneath iron discipline. "The loss destabilized certain political alliances," she went on. "Many noble houses believe her vulnerable." "And what does that have to do with me?" I asked carefully. The Queen rose from her throne. The room seemed to tilt around her. "I will grant you freedom," she said clearly. "Return your ship. Ensure your safe passage beyond our borders." Hope flared dangerously in my chest. "But," she finished, "you will marry my daughter." The silence that followed was suffocating. I blinked. "You're offering me a royal marriage?" "I am offering you life and liberty," she corrected, "in exchange for becoming my son-in-law." I stared at her, waiting for laughter, for some sign of mockery. There was none. "You want a political alliance with Earth?" I asked. "No." "Then why me?" Her golden eyes locked onto mine. "Because you are an outsider, unaligned with our noble factions. Because your species has proven resilient. And because my daughter needs a partner who will not see her as a stepping stone to power." I hesitated. "And if I refuse?" Her expression did not change. "You will remain here," she said softly, "as a prisoner, until your existence ceases to be useful." The choice was clear. Freedom with a crown. Or captivity. I want to meet her, I said. A murmur of approval rippled through the court. The queen inclined her head. You shall. Middle. The princess and the politics of grief. Princess Kalara was nothing like I expected. I had imagined someone broken, fragile. Instead, I found her standing alone in a training chamber, wielding a blade of energy that hummed with lethal precision. She moved with controlled fury, striking against holographic opponents that dissolved under her assault. She turned as I entered. Her eyes, violet, not gold, assessed me in a single glance. So, she said coolly, deactivating her blade, you're the human my mother intends to bind to me. I prefer to think of it as a mutually beneficial arrangement, I replied. One eyebrow arched. Do you? We walked along a balcony, overlooking the violet sea. Wind tugged at her dark, metallic threaded garments. I did not ask for this, she said quietly. My husband died defending our people. His loss is not yet ash in my memory. I won't replace him, I said. And I won't pretend to.
She studied me.
Why would you accept this? Because I like breathing, I said honestly. And because I suspect your mother doesn't make desperate decisions. That earned the faintest flicker of amusement. She does not. Over the next weeks, I learned the truth. Several noble houses were pressuring the throne. Kalara's widowhood made her a political asset. Marriage to her meant proximity to succession. The queen refused to let ambitious warlords bind themselves to her bloodline. A foreign consort, neutral, unpredictable, disrupted their strategies.
Me.
But there was more. Kalara wasn't just a symbol. She was a warrior in her own right, strategically brilliant, fiercely protective of her people, and grieving in a way that ran deep but did not weaken her. We sparred in the training halls. She knocked me flat more times than I could count. Verexans were stronger, faster. But humans endure. I adapted, studied her movements, learned to anticipate rather than overpower. One day, after I managed to disarm her, barely, she paused, breath steady. You fight differently now, she said. I stopped trying to win, I replied. I started trying to survive. A slow nod. That, she said, is why you're still alive. But not everyone approved. Lord Varos of House Keth, broad-shouldered, eyes like molten metal, cornered me in a corridor one evening. You are a distraction, he growled. An insult to Verexan tradition. I didn't propose this, I reminded him. You accept it. Given the alternative? Yes. His gaze hardened. If you harm her reputation. I won't. I cut in. And if you think I'm here to steal power, you misunderstand me. What do you want, human? I considered the question. To go home someday, I said quietly. Alive. He stared at me for a long moment, then stepped aside. The wedding ceremony was unlike any human ritual. Beneath twin moons, before the assembled court, Kalara and I stood on a platform of living crystal. The queen presided, her voice echoing across the sea. This union is not conquest, she declared. It is choice. Kalara's hand, cool, strong, gripped mine. I do not promise love, she said in our private exchange. Neither do I answered. But I promise loyalty. Her eyes searched mine. That may be enough. We sealed the bond not with a kiss, but with the mingling of blood, tiny cuts on our palms pressed together, a Verexan symbol of shared fate. The court applauded. But as I looked across the gathered nobles, I saw resentment simmering. The challenge had only begun. And a choice beyond freedom. The assassination attempt came 3 weeks later. Our transport was descending toward a coastal colony when alarms blared. A warship bearing the sigil of House Keth broke formation and fired. Varos, Kalara whispered, fury flashing. He warned me, I muttered. The ship shuddered as shields strained. Escape pods, I suggested. She shook her head. If we flee, it confirms weakness. Another blast rocked us. Then what's the plan? Her eyes met mine. We fight. We commandeered a smaller interceptor and launched into open sky. I took the pilot's seat. She manned the weapons. Varexan ships were designed for neural interfaces, but I adapted quickly. Human reflexes weren't inferior, just different. Varos hailed us. Stand down, princess. The throne requires strength, not foreign contamination. Kalara's voice was ice. You mistake treason for strength. His ship lunged forward. We dove through cloud cover, skimming the sea's surface. I remembered every combat simulation I'd ever run. On my mark, I said. Redirect power to port thrusters. She didn't question. Mark. We spun sharply, letting Varos overshoot. Kalara fired. Precise, devastating. His shields collapsed. One final shot disabled his engines without destroying the ship. Silence followed. We hovered over the violet sea, breathing hard. You spared him, she said. Dead enemies become martyrs, I replied. Living traitors face justice. She studied me in a new way. Back at the capital, Varos was arrested. His rebellion exposed. The queen addressed the empire publicly. My daughter's consort has proven his loyalty not by bloodline, but by action, she declared. For the first time, the court looked at me not as a curiosity, but as an ally. Months passed. Kalara and I trained, governed, debated strategy late into the night. Respect grew first. Then something deeper, quiet understanding. Shared glances. Laughter rare but genuine. One evening, standing on the balcony overlooking the sea, she spoke softly. My mother would release you now, she said. You have fulfilled your part. The words hit harder than I expected. I know. You could return to Earth.
Free.
I looked at the twin moons, at the city that no longer felt entirely alien. At first, I agreed because I wanted to survive. I admitted. Then, because I respected you. Now, I turned to face her fully. Now I stay because I choose to. Her breath caught slightly. This world isn't mine by birth, I continued, but I can help protect it. With you. Silence stretched between us. Then, slowly, she placed her hand over mine. The same gesture from our wedding, but warmer now. You are no longer a prisoner, she said. I know. You are my partner. A faint smile tugged at my lips. Freedom, I said, turns out to be more complicated than I thought. Below us, Varexa Prime shimmered in the moonlight, no longer a cage, but a kingdom worth defending. I had been offered liberty in exchange for a crown. In the end, I found something far greater. Not obligation, not survival,
but choice.
And in a galaxy ruled by power and bloodlines, that was the rarest freedom of all.